In today's video, I head up to Thorpe Park Friday night to check out all the latest additions for the 2024 season, including the brand new Scare Maze Deadbeat and much more. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's up guys, I hope you're all well. Welcome back to yet another video on the channel, and today is finally the day. It is Thorpe Park Fright Night's opening weekend for 2024. We're going to be getting on some fan favourites, such as trailers, survival games and stitches as well, which is going to be exciting. So yeah, it's going to be a great day. I'm going to go pick my friend up now, and then we're going to head down to the park. We're trying to get there for opening. We're going to do the full 11 hours today, which is going to be an interesting experience. But yeah, without further ado guys, let's get into the first Fright Nights vlog for 2024. Let's go. With that, we made the journey to Thorpe Park, stopping for a Mackey's en route, of course. However, we did hit a bit of a snag. Long story short, the night before we left, I came across a very disturbing revelation. I couldn't find the tickets. Now, I'll admit, that probably sounds a little bit more dramatic than it actually was. The park tickets were safe and sound in my emails. But the maze tickets, however, were a little less secure. I had photographic evidence I bought the tickets, but the email confirmation was nowhere to be found. So, with the threat of potentially missing out on the mazes fresh in our minds, and praying that the barcodes on my camera roll worked, we pushed on. We eventually arrived at the park and I ironed out all the worries I had about the maze tickets, so luckily that was no longer really a concern, but something else was. Once we arrived at the park, we began to waddle our way to Hyperia, and we were met with a harrowing sight. 150 minutes was a long time, but we decided to wait it out until we didn't. Okay, so we've just arrived at the park now and we headed straight to Hyperia. Unfortunately, it's still running on reduced capacity. Obviously, it valleyed the other day, so it's only on one train at the moment, which is unfortunate. But we are going to come back later because we booked fast track tickets for 7 o'clock. So we're going to try and make sure we get on it. It's my friend's first time going on Hyperia as well. So to have that first ride be during the night is pretty special, which is really cool. Right now I think we're going to go and head on stealth, but yeah, it's really exciting to see everything kind of ready to go now. We walked past Crows earlier, Deadbeat, the sign's fully up now, which is awesome. So yeah, we're going to try and start doing the mazes about 3 o'clock. We've got the afternoon Fearsome 4 package, which covers all 4 of the mazes from 3 PM to 7 PM. So yeah, we should hopefully get on everything and then get a night ride on Hyperia to top it all off. But yeah, now we're going to go and head on stealth because I think it's only about 35 minutes, which isn't too bad. So we're just going to have to brave it today. It's going to be busy. But yeah, super excited. Armed with our new plan, we began the journey to stealth, passing quite possibly the most beautiful sight that could be bestowed upon our eyes, the curly fry stand. However, we managed to resist the temptation for now and carried on towards stealth. We ended up waiting around 40 minutes in the end due to it breaking down, but then we decided to lift our spirits with a little all-time classic, the flying fish. Okay, so we've just had 2 beautiful rides on stealth and the flying fish. We got 3 goes round. The operator sent us round 3 times. We've got a nice little photo that I'll probably put up on screen at the minute. Yeah, what an amazing experience. We also had a look in the mega store on the way as well to check out some of the new merchandise. That looks really cool. And yeah, like always, I'm going to get a mystery pin that I'm going to reveal to you guys at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what the plan is now. It's about 12 o'clock-ish, so yeah, we're just going to go and see what's what. So after some consideration, we came up with a master plan. The plan was to head towards stealth and wait in the queue, and then also, okay, that was it. That was the plan. Damn, that sounded a lot more dramatic in my head. After getting a brief glimpse of survival games on the way and entering the queue, everything was going according to plan. Until it broke down. Luckily, we weren't waiting for too long, but it did mean that once we exited the ride, 3 PM was definitely drawing near. Okay then, so after a longer than normal queue for Swarm, it broke down halfway through, but they managed to get it back up again. It is very much nearing the time of 3 PM, which for those of you that go to Fright Nights a lot know is when everything starts happening. I think the plan now is just to kind of chill out for a little bit or try and go on the bumper cars. We're going to try and hit trailers first, and hopefully we make it in time for the fast track slot we've booked for Hyperia at 7 o'clock, which I'm hoping we should be. The tickets are valid from 3 till 7, so with a bit of luck, we'll be done a little bit before then. We're obviously going to try and finish on Deadbeat, which I haven't seen any footage or any photos of yet, which is going to be really exciting to see it for the first time today. But yeah, that's right next to Hyperia, so the plan is get on all the mazes, go to Hyperia, and then yeah, see where the night takes us. So let's hang about for a little bit. We're not quite there just yet. but the time is drawing near. So to kill the time, we headed to Big Easy Bumpers, and I think now's kind of a good time to mention how pleasantly surprised I was at the Fanta takeover this year. For those of you that don't know, Fright Nights and Fanta kind of had a frequent partnership over the years, but this year is actually really cool. They essentially converted Big Easy Boulevard into a Fanta Halloween street, if that's even a thing. What I did find funny, however, is when we went on the bumper cars, they'd kind of left a few cars empty, I'd imagine for maintenance reasons. But it did mean we were driving around and there was a high possibility of being T-boned by Casper the Ghost out of nowhere. But of course, after we had our ride, it was time for the event to start. And what better way to kick it off than with trailers? And boy, was I in for a surprise. It was also quite cool to note that you are now batched from behind the building itself, which was something I mentioned in one of my last construction updates, so it was nice to see that I wasn't going crazy. And as for what I thought of trailers, well, I'll just roll the clip. Okay, so we've just come out of trailers, and holy that maze has gotten so much better over the last year. If you don't want to see any spoilers, skip to this timestamp down here, but that was incredible. I must admit, going into trailers this year, I was kind of the mindset that I kind of want it to go next year. After I've seen what they've done with it this year, this maze better be staying here for a long, long time. I really hope it does. Yeah, spoiler-wise, I don't even know where to start. We've got the director back at Thorpe Park, which was a massively pleasant surprise. But that wasn't even the half of it. I thought, yo, that's quite cool. They've switched that up. I can't even believe I'm saying this right now. We now have Creek Freak and Platform 15 rooms in trailers. Like, holy shit, that is awesome. And literally, the minute I saw that Creek Freak sign, it brought a tear to my eye. It really did. I absolutely loved Creek Freak Massacre, and the fact that we even have a tiny piece of it back now, and Platform 15, it's just mind-blowingly incredible. And I didn't know anything about this maze going into it, so that was genuinely a true reaction of mine. Yeah. As for the performances by the actors, they were very top-notch. Like, genuinely, I think, especially the actors that have returned potentially from previous years, they know how these scares work. They know what works and what doesn't. Like the Nightmare on Elm Street kind of room, you know, with the bed, there was a hand coming out. Like you can genuinely tell that these actors now know what works in these rooms and what doesn't. And my God, that was brilliant. So with the excitement of trailers behind us, it was now time for our next maze, Survival Games. Now this was a maze that I've kind of always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with. For those of you that don't know, Survival Games is themed to like a survival game, funnily enough, in which you are hunted and potentially killed in all hopes to elevate your social media status. I can't tell you how much I love the concept for this maze. In the last few years, I've really enjoyed it for the most part. But there was always kind of something I felt was missing. So I had high hopes for this year and was excited to see what they had in store. As we walked up to the entrance, I unfortunately happened to step in a puddle, which wasn't ideal, but we moved on and entered the maze. Okay, so we've just come out of Survival Games for 2024, and I must admit, I enjoyed it a lot more than I did last year. However, I still think there's quite a bit that Thorpe Park needs to do to maybe elevate it to a different level. I thought the opening of the maze was absolutely fantastic. Again, spoilers ahead. I'll put a timestamp on the screen again, but the initial room was always good in trailers. You know, the being put in cages and being grabbed is always great. But they've added the electric chair this time, which I think is a really interesting touch, where you kind of had to physically execute someone in the pre-show, which was, I mean, it sounds sadistic, but it was really cool. And then obviously you get taken into the maze, and after that, it kind of is the same. And I liked it. It wasn't terrible. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for survival games, but I just think there needs to be a bit more to play around with, if that makes sense. Like, you know, I've just spoken about trailers and how much I love that. Like, each of the different rooms have a gimmick or a niche that the actors can play around with. And a lot of the middle of survival games is an open space, which is good because it gets you a bit disorientated. And I got chucked into a good few rooms in that maze today. But there's just not a lot for the actors to play around with. There are some really good moments. There's a couple of people chained up. Particularly, there was a room that was kind of filled with smoke and red lights. That was really, really cool. And of course, the chainsaw finale never disappoints. But that's me speaking critically. If I'm speaking personally, I really enjoyed it. It's always a fun maze for me, just trying to find your way around, getting redirected. At one point, we all got lined up against the wall. Like, it's that sort of thing that really elevates survival games. I think they just need a bit more of it if it's going to stay. But yeah, next year, I wouldn't be massively disappointed with survival games going, but I would like them to improve it more. I think there's a lot of good ideas in survival games. I just think they need to work on it a little bit. But it's still an absolutely fantastic maze. I'm only speaking about this because of how excited I am just coming out of trailers. It's by no means a bad maze at all. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, the sun's setting now. It's about 4-ish, half 4. We're going to wait a little while to do stitches and deadbeat. I think we'll wait for it to get a little bit darker. But so far, I'm really enjoying the event. Yeah, we had a walk through Lucifer's Lair earlier. They were playing some really great live music. And the atmosphere is just always great at Fright Nights, which kind of is all you can really ask for. So yeah, really enjoying it so far.
So with that, we were now 2 mazes down and the sun was beginning to set. However, before we moved on, we stopped off at the Mega Store to buy today's mystery pin badge, which I'll of course reveal at the end of the video, and some drinks to keep us going while we were in the stitches queue. It was getting pretty busy at this point, but I have to say, Thorpe Park managed the wait times really well this year. We didn't have to wait any longer than about 40 minutes for any of the mazes, and I think that deserves at least a little bit of praise. So after we stocked up on fizzy drinks, we headed to the Stitches entrance, and I was really looking forward to Stitches this year. Considering last year it scared the living bejesus out of me, and I just loved the premise of the sinister toy shop. So yeah, here was my first reactions after coming out the maze.
Okay then, so we've just come out of Stitches, which was the brand new maze for 2023. And it was good. I enjoyed it. It was not as good as last year, I don't think, but I do think a lot of my gripes with it this time were because we were at the back of a group, so a lot of the scares were kind of already seen coming. However, there were some really good actors in there. You know, and just like last year, the theming, the scenery is absolutely spectacular in there. You can't really fault it. You know, and there's a lot of stuff in there that really does work. I think we were just kind of in a bit of an odd position, and that final room would always scare the shit out of me. I absolutely hate it. Yeah, and I'm glad that returned. I know I said in a lot of my updates, I really hope it returns. It did, and I'm happy about that because it was absolutely horrifying. But yeah, in total, I think it's a great maze. It's nice and lengthy, you know, and I'm not going to get too critical on you guys because that's not what I'm about. It was still a very enjoyable maze. It's an attraction. I think it feels very at home at Fright Nights, and yeah, I'm glad it's here. It was just kind of, like I said, a bit of an odd positioning in the group for us. But it was still very good. I still very much enjoyed it.
With all the returning mazes now done, it was a countdown until we finally experienced Deadbeat. But before we ventured into the sinister nightclub, we decided to get into the clubbing mindset. And what better way to do so than to get a kebab? My friend actually introduced me to these things called gyros. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm not cultured, I'm sorry. But they were like pita wraps with chips inside. It was really good. However, once we filled our bellies with these delicious items, it was showtime. As we walked towards Deadbeat, my initial thought was just how good the vibe was. As soon as you get even remotely close, you can start hearing the bass pumping. And I have to admit, I felt immensely bad for the worker trying to do safety briefings whilst having his inside shaken by the subwoofers next to his ears. Shout out to you, dude. You're a true hero. And with that, we entered Deadbeat, and here's what I thought.
Man, there were some insane effects in there that I just wouldn't have expected to see at Fright Nights. Again, I'll put timestamp up above for spoilers. Essentially, there's an I'm lost for words with this maze. Like, it's genuinely incredible how this has come together. Like, the moment you step through those doors, you feel like you're in the middle of a street. Like, it's mad. The scenery and the theming the effort that they've put into all of that within this maze is just unreal. And like I said, the effects were absolutely incredible as well. A lot of people in makeup, which is always good. So I always love that. And yeah, there was a part of this maze where an actor was on the ceiling, and some of you may think this is like mad. I'm not kidding. There was an actor like above me. Like, it's genuinely incredible the feat that they've managed to do here. The atmosphere in there is amazing. The soundtrack's great. I really couldn't say anything better about it, to be fair.
Before we continue, I just wanted to mention, after I finished filming that last clip, some really nice people came up to me and they were interested in what I was doing. One of the boys was called Charlie and he wanted to be in the video, so here's some of that footage. And Charlie, if you're watching, you're an absolute legend, dude. It was lovely talking to you.
Okay, so I'm currently here with Charlie. What do you think of the event?
Well, we went on Stitches and it was really scary. I hated it.
See, I'm absolutely terrified of dolls, so I'm assuming he's out the same.
Yeah, there's like this massive problem.
Yeah, but yeah, you're about to go on Deadbeat, aren't you?
I'm not excited.
Are you not excited? No, well, I hope you have a good time.
I do.
I'm sure you'll have a great experience. What's that?
I'll go subscribe.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So this is a bit awkward. After I filmed this, it was of course time for Hyperia, but unfortunately my phone was getting desperately low on battery, and being the sole holder of the fast track ticket, I needed to protect it. So from this point onwards, I unfortunately couldn't capture any footage other than a small portion of the pros. But don't you worry, I haven't forgotten about the mystery pin badge. I'll get to that in just a second. But firstly, I just kind of wanted to highlight how much I enjoyed this evening and the event as a whole. This was just the beginning of Fright Nights, and I literally cannot wait to experience it all again next week. Just to sum up how the rest of the evening went, we got on Hyperia eventually and then experienced the Crows quickly after, and then spent the last final 40 minutes of the evening just cramming a ton of sweets into a candy pips barrel, and for some reason losing our minds over a donut time cart.
The fact it actually says donut time, it's like a holy grail. Look at it, it's just sitting there. Oh. Yeah, so the tiredness was definitely getting to us at that point, I think. But however, moving on, we are now back in my house, in my room in particular. It's about 2.5 weeks later, and when I filmed all of that other stuff. The main reason being, I completely forgot I even wanted to film this segment in the first place. And also, I just thought I might as well kind of go over my overall thoughts on the event. Plainly because I've now experienced Fright Nights twice. I went last Thursday on my own just to kind of soak up the atmosphere, check out some of the live shows and stuff. And yeah, I've got a bit more of an informed opinion on Fright Nights now. And yeah, it's just an absolutely fantastic event this year. Obviously, it's not as big, you know, and as grand as your Tully Shocktoberfest and stuff when it comes to the mazes. But I do think as a whole, as a theme park Halloween event, it's really, really good. And I would recommend it to anyone I know. I think the live entertainment definitely has taken a step up this year. When I visited the park last week, I checked out Creature Campus this year, and it was a fantastic live performance. Like, it wasn't just a dance. You've got the interactable kind of scenery pieces in there now, and you've also got they had these like broomsticks that had sparks coming out the bottom. Like, it was really, really cool. You can tell Thorpe Park really care about the event and the kind of stuff outside of the mazes, and that kind of reflects itself within the scare zones as well. Of course, the Crows, as I mentioned in the video earlier on, is absolutely phenomenal. Like, genuinely one of my favourite Halloween attractions in the UK. Yeah, it's just a great event overall. I'm finding it hard to pick holes in it. It's that good. I really enjoyed myself this year at Fright Nights, and I hope it continues. But yeah, I told you guys I wouldn't forget. I am going to go over the mystery pin badge. Now, of course, for those of you that don't know, every time I visit Thorpe Park and I make a video on it, I always get a mystery pin badge to reveal at the end of the video, like I'm doing now. And this year, I obviously had to go with the Fright Nights one for this video. However, we got a brand new for 2024 chainsaw pin badge. I'll give a little bit of a closer look up on the screen at the moment. But it's a really, really cool pin. It kind of jumped out to me plainly because I love a pin badge that's got the date on it. Those of you know, earlier on in the year, I picked up the Hyperia one that has 2024 on it. You know, when Thorpe Park opened this year. And yeah, this is no different. I just like having it as like a memento for this year's Fright Night specifically. And yeah, it's just a really cool kind of design. It's kind of got the chain effect of it coming out the bottom. And the little blood, the sparkly blood splatters on the end of the chainsaw is really cool as well. So yeah, let's put it up on the pinboard. Okay, so I kind of wanted to keep all my Fright Nights and my spooky Halloween stuff kind of towards the bottom of the pinboard. So I reckon this pin badge, oh, there you go, flip the chain round. I reckon this pin badge should probably sit good about here, maybe in the middle of the Ghost Train ones. Obviously, because they're not going to stay there forever. I'll probably keep them there for a little bit during close season, but once Halloween's kind of officially behind us, then I'll probably end up taking them off and replacing them with something else. But yeah, that looks really cool. It's a really nice centerpiece actually for my Halloween pin badges. I might move my survival games one down here somewhere. And when I visit the park again next week, I do want to get another one of the pin badges. So I'll probably end up just kind of saving this bottom section for Halloween stuff because I'm a bit of a maniac. But yeah. Okay then, so that is going to do it for the end of today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you've got any kind of suggestions on what you want to see on the channel, definitely let me know down below. Not that I'm desperate for ideas or anything, but it should be nice to hear some of you guys' feedback. I do kind of want to film another Fright Nights video before the park closes this year. I'm heading up on the 3rd of November for the closing day for Thorpe Park, technically, for the season. So I'm going to film a little video there. That'll be another bit of Fright Nights content. However, in between now and then, I have got something that's not Fright Nights for you guys that I'm quite excited about doing. I haven't started production on it yet, but it is going to be quite fun, I think. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing it. So without further ado, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I know it's the boring part of the video. I don't really like saying it, but it does help me out, and I absolutely massively appreciate everyone who's supported the channel so far. And yeah, without further ado, guys, I hope you have a brilliant rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.